Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 30th of September. My name is Phillip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Pia.
And Gary, we are in the middle of spring now. Well, not technically in the middle of the spring, but 1 month down of spring. And how much are we loving this weather?
One down, two to go. We're loving the weather. We're loving the market. Talk about what's going
well,
on
as
there.
I said in the sales meeting to the team yesterday, Gary,
yes,
it doesn't get any better than this.
And get out that big broom, Phil, because we cleaned up on the weekend selling, wait for it, all 6 of our 6 auctions, Phil. Now, if I'm not mistaken, maths was never my strength, but I think that could be 100%.
Well, Gary, 6 out of 6. Last time I put that into the calculator, Gary, it did come out with 100%. And yes, Gary, we had the clean sweep. And thinking about this, it was a quiet weekend in Melbourne because most agents just confine their Saturdays to auctions, but we're across both days. So Melbourne virtually ground to a halt with the grand final, of course.
Now, well done, and because it was last week. You predicted Hawthorn, and for those people that are interested in gambling, Tom Waterhouse $4 he gave on Hawthorn.
Is that right?
$4 he gave Tommy Waterhouse. So there's a few people out there probably still hung over on the victory and their winnings. For those that were bold enough to go against the favourite Sydney and go with the big Hawks and mighty Hawks.
All I can say to Sydney, look, you kind of showed up. Yeah. You ran out onto the MCG through the banner. The ball was bounced.
Yeah.
It was the start of the 2014 grand final, and you just. What happened? Can you just explain to me what happened?
Phil, that is Sydney though, isn't it? They're full of front and there's not much behind it. Is that right?
Do you know what?
Because Sydney, I think
it's about show.
Yeah,
you go to Sydney, right, and you fly in over the harbour,
and everything's so
and
beautiful.
They've got the Opera House and that Kurt Hangery thing, which they call the Harbour Bridge, and it's all about just that initial visual impression. Right. But you know, once it rains in Sydney, or the sun goes down, or you're not looking at the harbour. Basically, it's a crap city.
You'd rather be in Damascus, wouldn't you?
I mean, Melbourne is the most livable city, not just in Australia, but in the entire world.
By the way,
in Sydney, you've got a bridge. That's it, a bridge.
Not to offend anyone for Damascus, by the way. It's a lovely city. Yeah.
So that's pretty much, you're right, Gary. Sydney, it's about front, it's about facade.
Yep.
There is no substance, none, zero substance, nothing.
Anyway, big checkbook and Buddy Franklin wasn't enough to get the Swans over the line. So congratulations to Hawthorn, to all the Hawthorn supporters, because we've got a few mates.
Well done to Alistair Clarkson, and we almost sold Alistair Clarkson.
Not Alistair. Isn't that what you take when you've got a cough?
That's a few drinks. But well done to Alistair Clarkson, and we almost sold you a house a few years ago. That's as close we came to the grand final.
That's as close as we ever will come, Philip. Let's talk about the weekend that was, Phil, because there were 6 auctions. It was all happening. You did some auctions. I did some auctions. Jeremy Roses did some auctions. Let's review them, Phil. We start off, Philip, in Bentley East at number 7A Gardeners Road. Tell us a bit about that, won't you?
We did, Gary. A really good 2-storey townhouse, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, good entertaining area, single lock-up garage, parking in front, and that was sold undisclosed, unfortunately, but our quote range there was, I think, $690 to $750, and it was sold within the range.
Now, I can tell you, Philip, the auction that I did on Sunday morning at 11:30 with Elza Schilling was not undisclosed.
Wow, what a rocket ship that one was.
The reserve I was given was $620,000. I think it was $620. I dare say it would have been lowered, but the first bid at the auction, $660,000.
I've got to tell you, Gary, that auction was the grand final.
It was.
You would have been drug tested after that auction, I reckon.
I did. I was swabbed on the way out to the car, Phil. But I've got to tell you, it was very exciting. It sold for $756,000.
Wow.
I beg your pardon. $736,500, Philip. A big crowd, lots of bidding and bidders. I think there were 5 bidders. And well done to our 96-year-old vendor, Philip, who sold that property, who'd been living there. She said she only got there recently because she's only been there 21 years. So how about that to our 96-year-old vendor?
Fabulous, congratulations.
Moving along. Philip, 3 at 59 Wander Road was also auctioned on Sunday. Jeremy Rosens did auction and sell that property, but it is undisclosed, Philip, so we can't talk about the price.
It was a strong price though, Gary, and really good real estate. I love those kind of 1960s, 1970s solid brick, older style apartments. Lots of value there, lots of space.
If I'm not mistaken, Philip, the quote price somewhere in that $8 to $880 range did sell for in excess of that. I think it's
Gary.
Okay to say that.
But
Philip,
the price is undisclosed, Gary, so stop giving so many hints away.
Philip, I was at Kurrawa Road and I saw
Well,
you
you
do
and
a
about
good
200
auction.
people.
There's a lot of people there. You did a good job.
Well, thanks very much.
And the price is not undisclosed, so please reveal everything.
I'm very proud to say that it was a very strong result, and this is an indication of the market, Gary, because we actually had 4 people put up their hands.
Yes, we did.
But 3 others didn't even get an opportunity to join the bidding. It went thick and fast, and we sold that
Hot and
house.
strong.
We sold that house well in excess of the reserve for $1,850,000, and we were giving away chocolates. We were giving away bottles of Johnny Walker Blue.
Tickets to Europe.
It was a great festive atmosphere.
Cars.
You got to love those auctions where
Boats.
there's real energy in the room, Gary.
There was a lot of energy, Phil. You did a good job, and
Thank
it was
you.
a very windy
Thank
day,
you.
and you were certainly full of wind during the auction, Philip, but you got the result, which was terrific. In Denby Road, Armidale, that's a terrific address. We had a competitive auction there, Philip, and it sold for $600,000.
Against a reserve, I believe, of $550,000. So a really strong reserve, and a Sunday
Strong
auction.
result.
A strong it was a
result.
really strong result, not a reserve, but a really strong result. And nice to have an auction in Armidale on a Sunday. Shake up conservative Armidale.
Yes.
They're a real Saturday's die-hard
yes.
suburb, but a Sunday auction got the locals talking, really.
We did shake it up. I remember we had an auction recently in Camberwell on a Sunday too.
We did.
And you just don't do that sort of thing, but
Oh,
we
no.
did.
No,
and
no.
how hot was that auction?
Well, only about 200 people there. They
Yeah.
came out to see what those crazy boys from Gary Pure and Associates were doing,
Yeah.
auctioning in their good suburb on a
What
Sunday.
the hell are you doing out here? And they drove us out of there, not before we got a record result, which was good. Phil, this weekend, again, not a particularly big one. This is the calm before the storm,
It is,
as
Gary.
far as I'm concerned. And certainly, we still have a very good range of offerings with 7 auctions this weekend, Philip. We're going to review them in a moment, but I think we should just have a little interlude, a little break perhaps.
Little break.
And talk about this home we are at in Lucas Street, Caulfield South. Now, cop this.
Gary, this is the most incredible house because it was renovated unbelievably. Renovated probably is the wrong word.
Yes.
We should say renovated or rebuilt, because this house has had the most amazing extension done to it. Congratulations to the owners who have
Thanks to the
executed
architect,
the
yeah.
perfect renovation. And a special shout out to the architect, a man by the name of David Saunders,
Yes.
who specialises in work like this. And he's just done the most incredible job here. The floor plan to this home is it's got a real style to it. It's not conventional. This back room is nothing short of sensational.
It's unbelievable.
And I had the good fortune to actually have a look through David Saunders' personal owned home in St Kilda a couple of
that
weeks
right?
ago. And once again, incredible. So if you're in the market to do a rebuild, a renovation, build a new home, I would suggest that you include David Saunders on your shopping list of architects. And Gary, as we sit here,
Yes.
I'm looking at the Houses magazine, and I'll just show this to camera. Perhaps we should get one of our PAs to ring Houses and suggest that they donate some subscriptions to this magazine. This is one of my favourite magazines. In fact, I'm proud to say my own home was featured in this magazine
right?
once upon a time.
Really?
But it does specialise in showing architectural homes, and this house where we are in Lucas Street was featured
Big
right in
spread
the
there, Phil.
centre.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's a centrefold,
It's a
Philip.
centrefold, Gary, and
Bit
I've
of
got
a
to tell you,
raunchy
at
house,
my age, this is the sort of stuff I do get
That's it.
excited by.
That's right.
But great to be involved in selling such a stunning architectural home
now,
like
but
this.
Just wait, there's more, Philip, because it wasn't just in houses, it was also in this magazine called Facing Design.
It is,
Another
Gary.
spread on the house.
Another
Perhaps you'd like to
spread.
open that
I've
up.
got to tell you what. I'll just have a quick flick through that. I haven't actually seen this
And
magazine
look,
before,
and look
but
at this little book here.
it's in that one as well.
Yeah, it is in that book as well,
Wow.
and it's in this week's edition of Playboy. It's
Wow.
also in Sports Illustrated, Philip.
Fantastic.
No, it's not really,
So-
but it is in this house here.
Look at
It
this,
is in
look at
this
this for the
magazine.
viewers,
Look at this.
absolutely.
This book. This is a beautiful book, Philip.
Incredible.
And that's your sort of book, isn't
So
it?
it is my sort of
Do you
book.
think the vendors will notice if it goes missing?
So get on down to this house on
Yeah.
Lucas Street, because if you want to see a stunning renovation, a stunning rebuild, it doesn't get any better than this.
Coming up for auction soon. The details on your screen now. Please come and see us here at Lucas Street. Adam Josky and Joel Sir handling this pearl of a property. We're looking forward to welcoming you to and through the front door. Phil, let's talk about this weekend's auction. We're starting off in Hawthorne Road in Caulfield North. That's Unit 4 at 153 Hawthorne Road. Now, we know this block very well,
do,
Philip,
Gary.
because there used to be a car yard on the corner. And
I bought a car from there.
You did.
Estelle Motors used
It
to be a
was.
Mazda dealership. Now it's this fabulous apartment building, of
It
which
is.
we've sold many times over
And
the
next
years.
to the car yard, there was a little old brick pier. We used to rent that out for the
I don't
vendors.
think people are really interested in what it was. Let's talk about what it is today. It's a fabulous apartment. Love this building, basement car parking, cracker of a position, walking distance to little shops in the
little shops.
That's
fantastic. That's a professional at work there.
Shopping
it's walking
village.
to the little shops.
It's walking distance
That's good
to
to
the
know.
little shopping centre.
And the little park,
Hawthorne
That's right.
Road and Balaclava Road.
Little park.
And
the
when
little
you-
school
When
around
you
the corner.
own there, you
Yeah.
can walk to a Fitzy and have a cup of coffee. Great coffee.
Well,
But
Einstein's
they've got
the other
those
way.
great little strudel things that I talked about. A Fitzy, go there.
Yes.
See me there on the weekend in between auctions.
See you on your game today there, Phil.
Yeah.
Tell us about this property, Philip. This is number 4 Munro Avenue, Carnegie. Now, what a great position. And we know that Carnegie's going off, Phil. It doesn't get any better. But cop this beautiful looking period home, Philip. What a fantastic property.
Gary, it is a great property. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. You can move straight into this, or perhaps think about how you might do the house up over the future years. But that's a great property, and Carnegie is one of the strongest performing suburbs in Melbourne. I think there's plenty of upside too, Gary, in Carnegie. If I had some money now, I'd be investing in Carnegie.
Phil, St George's Road has always been amongst the 2 best streets or 3 best streets in Elstonwick. There's Elizabeth Street, there's St George's Road. There's a debate about which is the better, but it doesn't get any better in Elstonwick than that. And there is a wonderful apartment, and I know this apartment well because I used to deliver the newspaper there as a kid.
You did,
That's
Gary,
the
because you
truth,
were
yeah.
born and bred in Elstonwick.
I am an Elstonwick
You
boy.
weren't fortunate enough to be born into the salubrious
No,
street of St
I
George's
wasn't.
Road. You
Or
lived in
Elizabeth Street.
you lived in one of the poorer streets, really.
I did.
But that gave you a sort of grounding on
did,
life,
Phil.
Gary.
Yeah.
That brought you down to earth.
It did. It
you
made
know?
me
If you'd
amongst
been
the real
born,
people.
born into St George's Road, where would you have gone to next? But
Exactly
you
right.
did grow up in Elstonwick, so you do know the area well.
do.
In fact, we used to knock about Elstonwick as 12-year-olds, doing some spray painting of walls and people's houses.
We used to create our...
We have a tag.
Our artistic influence, we decided to grace the suburb with that, Philip, didn't we? But across the road from this apartment, there used to be a little milk bar on the corner
little
there.
milk bar.
Where I used to play pinball.
I
Phil.
played pinball there with
We
you.
did.
We
Let's get
got
back to
kicked
business,
out of that
Phil. We
milk
got
bar a
kicked out a
couple
few
of
times,
times.
but the best trick with the pinball was I used to get the 10-cent coins, put them on the tram. This is true. Put them on the tram tracks, and they'd crush them. The tram would run over them,
Yeah.
and then they'd fit like a 20-cent. Then you could play pinball. They'd fit them in the 20-cent
And the
machine.
worst tragic part of that story is it would derail the tram, and scores of people were killed as a result of doing
But
that.
I used to get free tokens for the
Correct,
pinball, which
correct.
was good.
Right, let's talk about the property, Gary.
Down at Jimmy's, Philip. 3 at 31 St George's Road, Elstonwick. This is a magnificent apartment. Take us through it. Why don't
Well,
you?
Gary, it's large. It's 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, off-street car parking, beautifully renovated throughout, but you've just got to love that position.
Now, Philip, we've talked about little shops. There's a little park in Dorgan Street on the corner of Kooyong Road, and right opposite that little park
Absolutely.
is a unit 1 at number 1 Dorgan Street, Caulfield North. You are auctioning that on Sunday at 12:30 p.m.
Gary,
Talk us through
this
it.
is the front single-storey villa, one of only 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, a lock-up garage. You've got to love that position, beautifully renovated throughout. You can just walk straight into this property and get on with living, but you've got to love the position directly opposite the park.
Philip, 1 at 15 Clarinda Street, Caulfield South. Now, that is a good street.
Great street.
$2.5 million
Well,
street.
we set the record there last year with a most amazing sale. In
did,
excess of
Phil.
$2.5 million, I think it was.
Thereabouts. Philip, tell us about this wonderful property that Leo Samuel auctions.
He's going to be doing a great job there because this is 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, off-street car parking. There's a garage and a car space in front of it, polished timber floorboards throughout. Rare to get a property of this size in this price range, so we think that's a great property.
Philip, in Kooyong Road, there is a very affordable opportunity, and this is at the top end of Kooyong Road, in the Paris end of Kooyong Road, Philip, between Alma Road
I'm
and
not sure
Dandenong
that
Road.
there is a Paris end of Kooyong Road, but this is situated between Alma Road and Dandenong Road.
Or maybe it's Belgium there, because
re-
they call it the Paris end of Alma Road up
Yes.
there.
Can we just talk about this apartment? This is
Okay.
a really good apartment.
Yes.
And it's an entry-level apartment. We've been quoting that in the high 3s. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 off-street car space. And it's got its own courtyard garden. I reckon that is a screamingly good buy. If there's an investor watching, grab your checkbook or some cash and get to that auction because it's going to be well priced.
I understand this is going to be somewhere in that high 3s to
Yep.
low 4s,
Yep.
and this could well be buy of the week.
Buy of the week, we've called it now.
There you go.
Get on down and have that buy of the week as your part of your investment portfolio, perhaps, or live in it.
Yes, and it's
Or
this.
just buy it and
and walk to the little shops in Armidale. Phillip, there is a home coming up in Neeram Road, a superb looking property, 34A Neeram Road, Caulfield. You have got the auction honours at 1:30 p.m. Take us through this magnificent home,
I
Phillip.
do, Gary. Look, this is called number 34A Neeram Road, Caulfield, but it is on the corner of Blake Street, and it's got its own frontage to Blake Street. This has been beautifully renovated by the current owners. It's 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, lock-up garage for 2 cars, the most gorgeous landscaped courtyard gardens, polished timber floorboards throughout. I've got the honours of doing that auction. This to me is a really good opportunity to get into the centre of Caulfield.
So that's a wrap, Phil. That's a wrap for the sales. That's a wrap for the auctions coming up. And that's a wrap for this beautiful home in Lucas Street, Caulfield South. An architectural masterpiece, you may say, Phillip.
Well, I did say that, Gary, and you've reset it.
I have. But Phil, it is the calm before the storm because it's going to be happening in big volume, in
One
big
more
numbers.
quiet weekend, which is this weekend coming up, and then it's absolutely frenetic pace until about the 2nd week of December, and I reckon we might even go into the 3rd weekend of December this year, Gary.
I wouldn't be at all surprised. So it might be game off for the AFL, but it's game on for real estate, Phillip, as the market comes out with big volumes, big numbers, and big results, it seems, doesn't it?
I'm excited for the rest of the year.
Because it's all happening. As am I, Phillip, and we look forward to bringing you all the news as we will continue to do so on GPTV. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Phillip Kingston. Have a great week.
See you next week.